Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. For us, different areas of our lives are very important, like family, like relationship, like education. However, many times what work or what career we do also influences how or what results we get from these areas also, in fact directly. So work and career is one of the most important areas of our life, because a lot of our karma is also attached to what work we do, what career we do, or what business we do, and how it not only affects our karma, different areas of our lives also, and what results we get eventually from what work or career we are involved in. So it's very important when we look at different aspects of the horoscope for work and career, like the 10th house or the D10 chart or the Karakamsha or the placement of the 10th lord, aspects on the 10th house, dignity of the 10th lord, and so forth. One of the areas we should also look into is what are the combinations of planets when they are aspecting each other, especially related to work and career, and do they affect our work and career in some ways more than the other. So for example, two planets which are aspecting each other may not be placed in the 10th house or the 4th house, but the 10th lord may be placed in a certain house and can be under aspect from another planet from the opposite house. So there we need to look at what is the karaka of a certain house, what are the aspects that the 10th lord is placed in, and sometimes also when planets are the amatya karaka or also rule the 6th house and the 10th house, or even the lagna lord, or even planets placed in the lagna and being aspected from the 7th house, especially if the 10th lord itself goes and gets placed in the lagna. So planets aspecting each other to a large extent may also influence our work and career, and hence it's important for us to also understand the placements and the aspects enough and correctly as well. So I had also asked this question yesterday, giving you 5 different combinations of which combination do you feel is the best combination for work and career. Now only 5 options were allowed, so I gave you only 5 options in that list. However, let me tell you, though a lot of votes came for Saturn and Jupiter's mutual aspect, almost 50% of the votes came for that combination, in fact more than that. However, out of those 5 combinations, each one of them is an excellent combination. Some more for some areas of career and some more for the other. So for example, some combinations may give you a lot of power and influence. However, that combination may not give you the best material results. That means you may get the seat of power, but you may not get high remuneration. In some other combination, you may get the leadership position, but you may not get the power and authority as much. For example, when you look at Mr. Manmohan Singh, who was the Prime Minister of India, he rose to the highest office in the land. However, the actual power still resided with the Congress President Sonia Gandhi, who was not even in government. Or when you look at organizations like RSS, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, they are in tandem, or they work in tandem with the BJP, the Bharatiya Janata Party, and they are not even in the government, neither they are in the party, yet in spite of being an outside organization, but because they work in tandem with the BJP, the head of the RSS also wields considerable power and influence on the government, especially if it's the BJP government. So sometimes you may not have the best combination for everything or all aspects of career, but some combinations are good for one aspect of career, some combinations are good for the other. So let's deep dive and understand how different combinations may give you different results, and I will come out with my favorite as the last part of the list, telling you which is my favorite. So let's start with the combination which got the highest percentage of votes, almost 55%, and this combination is Saturn and Jupiter being in mutual aspect to each other. Now this is a very strong yoga also, and has also been described as the Dharma Karmadipati yoga, which means that dharma, your duty, which is Jupiter, and karma, Saturn, your responsibility, they are aspecting each other. So this has been described, or this yoga has been described as one of the most powerful yogas, one of the most auspicious yogas. However, this was more in Vedic times that this yoga was considered to be auspicious, where the person is considering his duty, his responsibility as one, and till he completes his responsibilities, which may include his religious responsibilities, he may not see that his karma, his duty has been done. However, the challenge with this mutual aspect, especially if it gets connected to the 10th house or the 10th lord in some way, or the Amatya Karaka in some way, is that Saturn slows down the results of Jupiter, and Saturn is the servant. Saturn is not the leader or the top leader. Jupiter is the advisor to the top leader. Jupiter is also not the top leader. And so with this placement, while you can be in a support role, you may get even to the highest office, but in a support role, you may also be an advisor, which Jupiter is. However, you may not be able to hold considerable power and influence and also the leadership position. However, you may have a lot of authority by virtue of you being seen as an expert and bringing a lot of stability in your career. So Saturn and Jupiter aspect will take you slowly, the growth will be slow, take you almost to the top but not the top, and you may not be able to exert considerable influence, though enough influence to call the shots to an extent. So a great combination, but definitely not the best combination for power, authority and the top role in the land or the top role in the organization. Then Jupiter and Mars. Now to a certain extent, Mars can create power and influence, can create a lot of aggression, assertiveness, and may also call the shots. But Mars is the general. Mars is not the top leader. So here Jupiter expands the energy of Mars because they are friendly planets to each other. There are not opposing energies. So Jupiter expands the energy of Mars and also makes it a wiser general, a thinking general, who can also strategize before the person goes to war. Mars, on the other hand, increases the aggression in the Jupiter also, who may also advise, while being wise, may also advise aggression to Mars. So this is also a good combination. So this is a combination where a person, by sheer power and authority of his willpower, of his motivation, may reach one of the highest positions in the organization, may also wield a lot of power and influence also. But yet this may not give you the best of material benefits, because sometimes you are at loggerheads. Should I go all out to do what I want to do, conquer, get the results, use the killing spirit, or use the wisdom? So this brings in some procrastination, while this is overall a great combination. Slightly better than the Saturn and Jupiter mutual aspects to each other, but definitely not the best for material benefits or reaching the highest position in the organization. Then let's talk about Sun and Saturn. Now with Sun and Saturn, these are opposing forces, opposing energies. So what happens is, one is also pulling down the energies of the other and also adversely affecting the other. So what does Saturn do? Saturn slows down the results of what Sun can do. Sun can take you to the topmost leadership position. So Saturn slows the ascension to the highest position, which means you take time to be able to reach the top position, which means you have to be a servant first, play the role of a team worker, go through the grind, get your hands dirty, be patient, continuously work very hard, persevere under the toughest of situations, overcome all sorts of opposition, and eventually you get the leadership position. So a really very hard grind to the top. Sun, on the other hand, tries to make Saturn a more assertive team member. So here the person as a team member may also take more responsibility and accountability of his work. So this is also, to a large extent, 90% of the time, before the person reaches the top of the organization, is in a very thankless job. The person is a team member, yet taking all the responsibilities, like almost being a leader, yet not getting the rewards of, not getting the good remuneration, and after years of working hard and persevering, and eventually reaching the top of the organization, sometimes too less, too late. However, still a good enough combination to reach the highest position in life, highest position in the organization, though late, but better late than never. Next, let's look at the mutual combination, mutual aspect of Mercury and Saturn. Now here Mercury, some people also gave the answer in the comment section saying Mercury rules the 6th house. 6th house is the house of career, service. Saturn rules the 10th house, Capricorn, karma. So this should be a great placement, great mutual aspect, giving you a good combination of work and career. Now the flip side to this is Mercury rules the 6th house of service. So Mercury is also to a large extent somebody who's a server, one who does service, but uses his intellect, uses the power of analysis and gives data to the leader to be able to make decisions. So a leader will depend on the Mercury in his team to be able to use data, facts, expertise and the analytical ability to be able to come onto the table with different strategies, different approaches, and then will ask the Jupiter in his team to advise him what is the wisest decision to be able to take, and then will ask the Mars person in the team to go and conquer, like the marketing manager or the sales manager. So the flip side to Mercury and Saturn is, while this person is very diligent, very hardworking, puts in a lot of hours, and because Mercury is about deep analysis and Saturn is about working hard, this person may work too hard for too long to get out better work, to get out more perfectionist work, and in this the person may slog much longer than even needed, and so the rise also to the top is slow, and neither does this placement have a lot of power and authority, neither does it have a lot of material benefits, neither does it have the highest position. So with Mercury and Saturn mutually aspecting each other and getting connected to the 10th house or 10th lord or the Amatya Karaka, one will find that very rarely do these people reach the top of the organization, at least in huge organizations who have spread their tentacles around the world. At best this may take you to the highest position very late, may not get you the highest power and influence, and generally even the ascension may not be to the best organization or the largest organization in the land. Now let's look at Mars and Venus. This is also an excellent combination, where Mars is the general, somebody who is able to go and conquer with a lot of motivation. Venus will be able to also give you the material benefits also. However, what happens is sometimes Mars gets too much involved in trying to get the material benefits and is not able to strategize, is not able to know tactfully what goes on in the boardroom. This is the general always wanting to conquer outside, but not knowing who's working behind his back, what's working, what's not working. This is not a person who is ready to slow down, to understand the grapevine, to understand the politics within the governing board, who calls the shot, who is the influence behind certain decisions. This is more like a marketing manager who, if you give them a project, will go and do an excellent job out of it and may also get high incentives also for that. So the material benefits may also be high, and enough power to be able to influence marketing strategies, marketing branding, product development may be a part of this role, but to be able to exert maximum influence over different departments, having that tactful power, being able to strategize and rising to the highest leadership in the organization may be difficult for this mutual aspect, especially if Jupiter or Sun or Saturn are not strong in the horoscope. Now one of the better ones, Rahu and Jupiter. Now they may not be in mutual aspect from the 7th aspect perspective. However, Rahu and Jupiter can aspect each other with the 9th and the 5th aspect. If Jupiter is aspecting Rahu with its 9th aspect, Rahu aspects Jupiter back with its 5th aspect. This could be a good combination, especially if Rahu gets connected with the 10th house in some way, either placed in the 10th house or placed in the 2nd house aspecting the 10th house, while Jupiter is in the 6th house and aspecting both the 10th house as well as Rahu, or Rahu is placed with the 10th lord and aspecting Jupiter with its 9th or the 5th aspect, and Jupiter aspecting Rahu as well as the 10th lord back. So there are different combinations in which Rahu and Jupiter can aspect each other, though not with the 7th aspect, because Rahu has a weak 7th aspect. So here Rahu has a lot of hunger, greed to be able to achieve, but Rahu changes more the material perspective and also power and influence. However, sometimes the greed for material benefits overshadows the greed to reach the highest office in the land. But Jupiter tends to curb the hunger and the greed of Rahu with its wisdom, tries to tell the person that this is not right, this is not ethical, this is not the right way. So sometimes the person is also under confusion, and Rahu also misleads you into taking wrong decisions. So this person can also be a person who changes a lot of jobs, changes a lot of careers also, and so loses the way. So while he or she may do well in one organization, but seldom do these people persevere within an organization, work hard, are able to overcome the machinations of others, the competition, and then be able to make the topmost position in the organization. So good combination if it is getting connected with career or the Amatya Karaka or the 10th Lord, however not enough power and juice to be able to reach the highest position of power, influence and leadership. Now let's talk about Sun and Mars. Sun and Mars are also a great position. However, here there is too much of aggression because of Mars giving the leader, giving Sun the energy and the aggression to be able to go and conquer at all costs, and Sun gives the authority to Mars, gives the authority to the general to go and do anything and everything needed, because Sun is also under the influence of Mars, and so influences Mars back and says, take no prisoners, go all out, achieve at any cost. So this is the ruthless general, this is also the ruthless leader. It is a power pack combination of going roughshod over any competition to be able to achieve. The problem is that this combination may create a lot of enemies within the organization, because this person may trust very few people, may depend on very few people, may not have many friends in the organization, may not have loyal people in the organization, because this person has run roughshod over everybody. So whenever people get a chance, they will topple this person, because one wrong mistake, one over aggressive move, and everything falls down like a pile of cards. So an excellent placement project wise to do very well, to reach certain position, but not have enough stability to keep the high place that you achieve for long in the organization. Mars and Saturn can also be a great combination, though the challenge with this is they are opposing forces. Saturn is a very slow moving planet, and Mars wants aggression, wants to do it now. So many times this person may procrastinate a lot. Saturn makes the person think and be in two minds whether to take an action or not. So by the time Mars makes it move, considerable time is lost, considerable traction is lost, considerable lead is lost over the other. So this is a slow mover who is a little confused player in the power equation, and seldom does this placement reach the top of the organization. If at all it does reach, Mars is still the general, Saturn is the servant. So this is a combination of doing more for others, sometimes ruthlessly also, but after procrastinating, after slowing down, and after doing many battles to reach a place of power, position and leadership. So good combination, though not the best combination. Now my personal favorite is the mutual aspect of Sun and Jupiter. Why Sun and Jupiter? Jupiter tends to expand the leadership qualities of Sun, and Sun is ready to take accountability and responsibility, and with wisdom. So Sun gives more accountability, more responsibility and even more power to the wisdom of Jupiter. Jupiter on the other hand expands the leadership qualities and the hunger to achieve to the Sun. So in a mutual aspecting placement, especially when getting connected to the 10th house or the 10th Lord or the Amatya Karaka, or even to the Lagna or the 7th house, and in some cases even the 5th and 11th house placement for Sun and Jupiter, this can be great placement. Though the ride may still be slightly slower than say the Sun and Mars combination, yet this is the most stable combination. This is also a combination where people have a lot of respect for this leader. They also look at the leader as an expert, as somebody who has risen through the ranks because of a lot of experience behind them, a lot of wins behind them because of Jupiter and Sun, a lot of achievement behind them, and because of that they truly deserve to be at the top of the ladder. Secondly, there are not too many enemies of this person, because this person has been very wise not to make enemies, also sharing the leadership, taking more accountability. So a safer though slightly slower move to the top, but a respected leader, somebody who is seen as deserving the top place and maybe remaining at the helm of the top office of the organization for much longer than any other combination. So friends, look into your own horoscopes and understand from career perspective which are the planets which are influencing your career, your work, your remuneration, your power, your authority, which the role that you have been given, the movements in your career, and see if there are any mutually aspecting planets, and are they helping you to be able to grow, or are they pulling down the energy and the enthusiasm and the willpower and the motivation to be able to grow to the highest position of power and influence in your career. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. Till some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.